Hi, this is Nick Lowry, my good buddy Damon Corneely here at Windsong Dojo, and we're just going to take a quick look at some variants on what happens when we're working with Tenkai Kotehineri. The Tenkai Kotehineri form, the basic Kotehineri, is the twisting of the wrist in this configuration so that his palm is turned out. And if we're just grasping from the outside here, we have Kotehineri. Tenkai implies that we've turned under. We've created a body turning action of coming under. And there's another form of this that people don't see it quite as often, but turning around to the outside makes for nice Tenkai action as well. So regardless of whether you've turned under or around, you've made Tenkai, you've made Tenkan action, and you've come to a grip for Kotehineri. And this is a very stable, powerful grip. If you have the edge of his pinky gripped with the small and ring finger of your hand, and your wrist stays back with the bend in the wrist, and we push this. If I just push this and stand in place, he gets torque in the shoulder and it all starts heading that way. If I rotate at the same time as I grip this down, and I rotate primarily out of the back leg here, his body turns and he falls pretty directly because it puts all the accelerating turn into his shoulder. Now the interesting thing about this whole phenomenon is if you're making your Tenkai Kotehineri go and you've made your grip here, all is well and cool. You can grip and twist and make more stress into his wrist and his elbow. People make a lot of pain with these. They start throwing the structure into the guy's face and making more pain. But even if you have no grip at all, and you're just hooking down on the outside of his forearm, and you're letting this arm drop, and I just do the same dropping action and the same turning action with my hip, you get the same effect out of his shoulder. So regardless of whether you get all busy twisting on his wrist, which is where most people put the focus of this thing, twisting the wrist right here, twisting the fingers, the wrist, and making pain here, you can basically forget about it, and from this height just drop it straight down and turn with the outside leg, and you have a coiling action that's really powerful. Now, what happens then is that as it coils down, sometimes you'll feel it start to slip in your grasp. You'll feel this thing start to slide. So we're doing Tenkai, it starts to slide in the grip, it starts to turn like an axle in a yoke. And you're not getting a firm condition of control as you move through it. That can be a signal that it's time to change up the action, so that as we're moving through, it's sliding down. It's a nice opportunity. You say, oh, my grip's going entirely. Reach over the top and make this reversed form of wakigatami go. Now, in addition to this, we could also be doing kaitenagi or other variant forms. We could even have a nice hikitaoshi here if we change hands. But basically, as your Tenkai is failing, say, man, it's failing in my grip. Over the top, basic wakigatami, but from the front instead of behind. The failure of that wakigatami is pretty rare again. These are both, both the Tenkai form here is a strong control position. It doesn't fail that often. The wakigatami here doesn't fail that often either. Although sometimes they will still have the impetus to be able to attack you low. He may turn and push into me, for instance, coming toward my groin. As that sort of thing happens, or you could just bump into something that's just not working for whatever reason, and this starts to disintegrate in your hand, you can very easily wind up in a very nice shomanate and back control position. So let's look at the series of what's happening here with the Renzoku, the flow. That as we're making our Tenkai go, here's the outside form Tenkai, I'm trying to execute Tenkai, and it's starting to slip. My grip's breaking for whatever reason. Maybe he's slippery, maybe I've grasped it poorly, maybe I've never got a hold of it to begin with, and so I change up on the fly to this backward form of wakigatami, or a reversed form of wakigatami. This one also seems to fail because as he comes towards my knees or towards my groin, his body comes back to upright posture, but now it feeds directly up. Let's watch that again. The wakigatami leading directly up to shomanate. And you notice that it kind of comes out of the blue at him, kind of sneaks up on him, sort of appears. And so when you see this in application, you say, man, I'm making my Tenkai go. I say, oh, it's failing. Wakigatami going. He starts coming into me. I say, whoa, right here. It's a beautiful application for shomanate. Shomanate doesn't often fail there, but sometimes they can turn. So that as this comes up and you're on his chin, if he's turning away from you, for instance, well, great, we have a nice way to lock the neck from there. That's no big deal. But what goes on, he's got this free arm stuck right here, as he turns toward you like he's going to elbow you in the head or something. Well, that's where kotegaeshi happens. So, we're going to do it bit by bit so you can see. I'm just going to set up a basic Tenkai from the outside, for instance. I could go under as well. I begin to swing through Wakigatami from the back side. He starts to scoop down and under and survive this shomanate, touching the low back for extra support. As he starts to respond, whoo, my hands come together like I'm clapping together. I've got this arm in my face, and I just move away from him until I encounter his forearm and wrist. And the kotegaeshi goes. So right from here, nice tight condition, he starts to turn at me. Woo! The hands just slide out and down to escape any sort of impact from that elbow coming at you. And automatically, you're out at reach for kotegaeshi. So that's a nice little engagement that you may want to play with. Thank you very much. Cool.